from the Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering. Today I am going to explain you about the topic design of discrete time IIR filters from the continuous time filters, approximation by derivatives, from the subject of digital signal processing, from the unit of filter design technique. Now first of all, what is the basic requirement of this topic and why we are designing the filters? So starting with this, the first topic is design of discrete time IIR filters from continuous time filters, approximation by derivative. So before that I am going to explain you that why there is a requirement of digital filter design. Suppose if we are taking the analog filter design, then we have to use resistor, inductor and capacitor, and because of use of this resistor, inductor and capacitor, there will be many disadvantages because of using the analog system. Like if we are using the resistors, then because of that there will be some tolerance, and because of the tolerance there will be changing the parameters according to the environmental changes. Same way there are various disadvantages because of the use of analog filters, so we have to use digital system, right? So if we are using the analog filter to filtering the digital signals, then it can't use directly. So for that either we have to design the digital filter or we have to convert the equivalent digital signal into the analog signal. So for that we have to use either digital to analog converter, and at the receiver side we have to use analog to digital converter. Right, so if we are not using this kind of converters, so for that we have to use just some simple digital filters. So because of this digital filters, we can directly filtering some of the portion of this digital signals. So for that we have to use this digital filter. Now how will designing the digital filter? Suppose if we are taking some filter, suppose if I am taking analog filter, then the analog filter looking like this. Suppose if I am taking analog filter. So for that, if I am applying the input signal as x of n, and if you want to derive the output signal as y of n, so directly this kind of digital signal can't be filtered out by this analog filter. So either we have to convert this analog filter into equivalent digital filter, or we have to convert this digital signal in terms of analog signal by using A to D converter. Then we will apply this to this filter, so it will filter out the signal. Then at the receiver side we have to use A to D converter, so to derive the output of the signal, which will be in the form of digital signal. So because if we will use this way, in this we have to use A to D converter and D to A converter. Now if we don't want to use this A to D or D to A converters, then we can replace this analog filter to its equivalent digital filter. So if we are designing the equivalent of this analog filter in the term of digital filter, then how we can convert it? Suppose if we are deriving the transfer function of this analog filter, then it will be look like h of t, right? Because it will be in the continuous time form. Now if we want to derive the digital filter, its response will be in the form of h of n. Now equivalent of this h of t should be in the form of h of n. If we are deriving this kind of transfer function, then we can directly convert analog filter to its equivalent digital filter. So basically if we are using the analog filter designing, there will be various disadvantages. So to recover these disadvantages, we will designing the digital filter. Now there are various advantages of digital filter. Which advantages are there? The first advantage is it will be designed without replacing hardware. So without replacing any hardware, just we will changing some of the portion in the software, in the programming, then we can design instead of low pass filter, we can design high pass filter. Instead of high pass filter, we will be designing this band pass filter or band reject filter. So in the programming, just we have to do some changes, and because of that we can without replacing the hardware, we can design the different kinds of filters. So this one is the first advantage of the digital filter. Now the second advantage is it has linear phase response. Now what is the meaning of this linear phase response? We had already seen the linear phase characteristic. Either it may be symmetricity or it may be anti-symmetricity. So because of that, the number of complexity will be reduces and we can derive the stable output. Now the third advantage is performance of this digital filter does not depending on the environmental changes. Not dependent on environmental changes. And the next one is, if we're using this digital filter, then we can save the data at any place. So we can store the data. And the next advantage is, if we're using the digital filter, then it will gives you the portable output. It means portability will be there, then the flexibility is also there, because we have to just replace the software, and because of that, by using single chip, we can design any of the filter. And next is power consumption is reduced. We can also use this kind of signal in biomedical applications because it may be used at the low frequency. And the last advantage is maintenance is required in the analog filter, but in this no need of maintenance. So these are the various advantages of digital filter. So basically we will convert in the analog equivalent to digital filter. But if we are using the digital filter, there are various disadvantages also. If we are seeing the disadvantage of it, the first disadvantage is it has speed limitation, because we have to convert analog signal into digital signal and digital signal into analog signal. So the particular signal goes through this, so it will limit the speed. Next disadvantage is finite word length. As you know that if we are using the digital filter, so we have to convert analog to digital converter, and in this the word length will be, it should be finite, so it has the limitation of finite word length. And the third disadvantage is long design and development time. Long design and development time. So as we are using single chip, but it has starting time of design and development time is too much long compared to the analog filter design. Okay. So these are the advantages of digital filters and these are the disadvantages of digital filter. So now if we want to convert the analog filter to the digital filter, so we have to use the approximation method. Now first of all we are taking the approximation method by taking derivatives. So in this, if I am using the derivative, then if I am applying the input signal to this derivative term, then it will give you the output as a y of t, right? So suppose if I am taking in the continuous time form, then in the continuous time form it will be y of t equals to d by dt x of t. So if we will taking derivative of this input signal, so it will give you the output y of t, right? So if I am taking y of t equals to d by dt x of t, so it will give you the output as the differentiation of the input. Now as you know that in the continuous time signal we will taking the Laplace transform, and in the discrete time signal we will taking the Z transform. So first of all we are deriving the transfer function for the continuous time filter, and then we will deriving the transfer function for the discrete time signal. And after that we will equating these two equations to derive the equivalent of the analog filter to the digital filter. So if I am taking Laplace transform of this, then Laplace transform of y of t equals to y of s, and differentiation, Laplace transform of differentiation equals to s, Laplace transform of x of t equals to x of x. So if I want to find out transfer function of this particular system, then it will be output upon input. So if x of s goes over here, so y of s upon x of s equals to system transfer function h of s, and its value equals to s. So as this one is for analog signal, so if we will writing analog transfer function HA of s equals to s. This one is equation number 1. This one is for continuous time filter. Now same way we have to derive for the discrete time signals. If I am representing this particular signal in the form of graph, then suppose if I am taking this one as a signal x of t. X is a function of time t, so I am writing this one as a t, right? Suppose in this diagram, if I am locating any two samples, so this one is time t1 and this one is time t2. Suppose if I am taking time t2 as t2 equals to n times t. Over here the term t is sampling time. So if I am taking this term as a t, so this one is nt, so nt minus t, it will gives you t1. So this term is nt minus t. Now suppose this point is considered as x1 of t and this one as x2 of t, then this will be considered as x of nt minus t and this will consider as x of nt. Now from this graph, if I am writing the output y of t, then what will be the value of y of t? Y of t means this, from this diagram we can say that higher value minus lower value means x of nt minus x of nt minus t. So x of nt minus x of nt minus t divided by the time duration for which this signal will be there. So the time duration will be t, right? So in this you can see that instead of this t, we can replace it by nt because we have converted this signal in the form of discrete time signal. So it will be representing as x of y of nt equals to x of nt minus x of nt minus t divided by t. Now as you know that this one is the discrete time signal, so for that we have to take Z transform on both the sides. So if we are taking Z transform on both the sides with this unit time signal, then what will be the Z transform of this signal? This term will run representing as y of n and Z transform of it equals to y of z. Same way, if we are taking t equals to 1 over here, so the term will be x of n, its Z transform is x of z minus, same way Z transform of this will be x of n minus 1. What is Z transform of x of n minus 1? By using time shifting property, its term is z inverse x of z divided by this t, right? Now from this, if I am taking x of z as a common part, so this term will remain as 1 minus z inverse divided by t. Now if we are finding the term y of z divided by x of z, because output upon input equals to y by x, so its value equals to h of z. So x of z goes over here, so the term will be 1 minus z inverse upon t. So this one is the transfer function for the digital filters. Now we have to equate this equation with the above equation, equation number 1. So the equation number 1 will be this, HA of s equals to s, right? So s equals to, what will be the value of s equals to? Because we are equating equation 1 with equation 2, so the value of s equals to 1 minus z inverse upon t. So using this formula, we will mapping these two signals. So what is the mapping? S equals to 1 minus z inverse upon t. Now from this we can say that the value of h of z equals to HA of s when we are taking s equals to this value 1 minus z inverse upon. So this is your final mapping of analog filter equivalent to the digital filter. Now if you want to derive the mapping between s and z, then what will be the mapping? As you know that if we are taking the Laplace transform, then how we are defining the stability for the system? If the poles are located on the left hand side plane, then it will consider a stable system, right? Same way, if we locating the pole at the right hand side plane, then it will be considered as unstable system. Same way, if we converting it in the form of Z domain, so as you know that if the poles are located inside the unit circle, then it will consider as stable. So if we look equating this term, left hand side plane will be locating on the unit inside the unit circle, then it will consider as a particular stable analog filter is converting into particular digital filter. So analog stable filter will be converting into digital stable filter if we can mapping between these two planes. So for that we are using this mapping between S and Z plane. So if I am writing this equation, S equals to 1 minus Z inverse upon T, and if I am simplifying this, Z inverse means 1 by Z goes over here, so Z minus 1 upon Z. Now if I am simplifying this equation, then next term is S equals to Z minus 1 upon ZT, ZT goes over here, so ZT S equals to Z minus 1. And from this, if we are finding the value of Z, so if we are writing the Z as T, then minus 1 goes over here, so it will be 1. From this, if we are taking Z as a common part, so 1 minus Ts equals to 1. So the value of Z equals to 1 upon 1 minus Ts, right? So this one is the relationship of between S and Z. Now from this, if we are taking S equals to sigma plus j ohm, then from that, if we are putting this value over here, then the term will be Z equals to 1 upon 1 minus T into, instead of S, I am taking sigma plus j ohm. Now I am simplifying this particular term in the form of real part plus imaginary part. So to finding this in real part and imaginary part, we will taking complex conjugate of this term and multiplying this term with a numerator and denominator. So we will multiplying with that factor and also divide by that factor. So the next term is Z equals to 1 upon 1 minus T sigma j ohm, right? So now this term will be representing as 1 upon 1 minus sigma T minus j P ohm. Now we will multiplying and dividing by its complex conjugate term, so its value equals to 1 minus sigma T minus j ohm T. It will be multiplying and dividing by this factor, so it will gives us real and imaginary part. Now if I am multiplying this two term, 1 into this means it will remain as it is, and this term will convert in the form of 1 minus sigma T square plus ohm T square, real part square plus imaginary part square, right? Now this will be separating in the form of real part plus j into imaginary part. So from this equation, if I am taking the value of sigma equals to 0, for simplicity, then this term will representing as Z equals to 1 upon 1 plus ohm T square. And as we had taken sigma equals to 0, so this term equals to 0 minus j ohm T divided by 1 plus ohm T square, right? Now in this, if I am taking mode of this value, then its value equals to 1. So it will be locating on the unit circle. Now if I am taking the different values of ohm, then according to that it will gives you the different values of Z. So suppose if I am locating this value, then it will gives you the mapping inside the unit circle. So if it will be on the left hand side of plane, then it will be inside the unit circle. So this way we can mapping the signal from the S plane to Z plane. Now the next point is mapping of derivative method. LHS part of the S plane is mapped onto the points inside the circle of Z plane, and its radius it will be equals to 1 by 2, and it is centered at 1 by 2 as I have told you in the last slide, right? Now the next point is RHS part of S plane is mapped onto the points outside the unit circle. So it will be gives you the unstable analog filter equivalent to unstable digital filter. And the stable analog filter is converted into the stable digital filter because as we have taken the first term as LHS part of S will be mapped onto the inside the unit circle of Z-wave. So it will gives you the stable analog filter to the stable digital filter design. Now the disadvantages of approximation of derivative method is it is suitable only for designing of low pass and band pass IIR digital filters with relatively small resonant frequency. We can't design the high pass and band reject filters with high resonant frequency by using this approximation derivative method. So in the next session I will explain you the next advanced method based on this approximation derivative method. Thank you so much.